We're live.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. This is Jesse Davis, Senior Planner, Mendocino County. We are now live via our YouTube stream, and we will look to conduct the roll call.
Donovan Albright. Commissioner Nelson.
Here.
Diana Wiedemann.
Here.
Eric Crane.
Here.
Commissioner Switchenback. Bank.
Swittenbank.
Commissioner Switchenback.
Swittenbank.
Swittenback.
Wait,
You're muted.
I just want to say something. Jim, are we talking about when you say commissioners, are all of us commissioners on this?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
You're all commissioners. Commissioner Beckler. Commissioner Madeline. Sorry, Holtcamp.
Muted.
Here.
Okay. Well, with the roll call conducted, I believe that our first order of business today would be the election of a chair and vice chair. With regards to procedure, I will default to County Counsel, Deputy County Counsel Matthew Kudowski to provide an overview of this process.
Deputy County Counsel Matthew Godrowski. I believe that the Secretary can simply call for a nomination for chair and vice chair amongst the commissioners.
Okay, I'm calling for a nomination for chair and vice chair for the Airport Landing Use Committee, our commission.
Looking for a nomination?
I'll nominate Greg Nelson.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay.
And vice chair?
Maybe I could change mine. I would nominate Greg Nelson for vice chair and I'd nominate Eric Crane for chair.
Okay, we have a revised motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. So presently there's a motion on the floor for Commissioner Nelson to serve as the vice chair and Commissioner Crane to serve as the chair of the Airport Land Use Committee. Would the clerk, or would the, would you please conduct a roll call, Jim?
Commissioner Nelson?
No. I'll vote yes.
Diana, Commissioner Wiedemann?
Yes.
Commissioner Crane?
That took an ugly turn, but sure.
Commissioner Switchenbank? He's muted. Commissioner Holtcamp?
Yes.
5-5, yes.
Okay, and with that, we do have a selected chair and vice chair. Thank you for those nominations and thank you for your assistance. Moving forward, do we have a determination of legal notice?
Legal notion has been determined.
Okay. And then with regards to the next steps, we will defer to the matters from the public. The Airport Land Use Commission welcomes participation in commission meetings. This item is limited to matters under the jurisdiction of the commission that are not on the posted agenda and items which have not already been considered by the commission. No action will be taken with regards to these matters. And seeing none, in terms of members of the public wishing to make comment, we will then proceed to our regular calendar. With regards to today's calendar, thank you, commissioners, for your presence. My name is Jesse Davis. I am the senior planner for the county's Inland Zoning Division. Before you today is a request of the Airport Land Use Committee to review and provide a determination for a provided discretionary request within the city of Ukiah. The request is for the Mendocino County Airport Comprehensive Land Use Plan consistency determination for a cannabis-related business that includes retail commercial space and delivery services within an existing 2,776 square foot structure. This building is on a 7,497 square foot lot within the city of Ukiah. No expansion of the subject structure is proposed or required, and on-site parking for 7 spaces, one of which is ADA compliant, will be facilitated, along with various accessibility upgrades to the property. As always, an important consideration for the Airport Land Use Committee is the total number of employees servicing this business, which is projected to be 3 to 4, with 2 estimated shifts per day. The 1-story subject structure was most recently utilized for nonprofit and medical offices and is technically addressed at 527A and 527B South State Street. The property is surrounded by a variety of commercial land uses, including automobile repair, medical and legal offices, as well as commercial retail and various residential units. Like adjacent properties, the majority of nearby lots are less than 1 acre in size, with most ranging between 13,000 and 25,000 square feet. For this application to progress, we request and require an infill determination, which is appropriate considering the B2 airport designation. Where substantial incompatible development already exists, such as for this location within the city of Ukiah, additional infill development of similar land uses may be allowed to occur, even if such land uses are to be prohibited elsewhere in the zone. This exception does not apply with compatibility zone A. Projects can be considered infill if they meet all of the following criteria. I'll read these criteria, but please know that they are addressed in further detail within the staff report. A, that the Airport Land Use Commission has determined that substantial development already exists. That the project site is bounded by uses similar to those proposed. The proposed project would not extend the perimeter of the area developed with incompatible uses. And the proposed project does not otherwise increase the intensity and or incompatibility of use through use permits, density transfers, or other strategies. And the infill area has been identified by the local jurisdiction in its general plan or related documents and approved by this commission. Upon our review of the application submitted by Element 7, which is the commercial dispensary and retail delivery service presented here today, staff was able to make the determinations and findings necessary for an infill determination. It should be noted that the proposed project would be located within an existing building constructed prior to the adoption of the A-Club, and the proposed use is consistent with historical retail and commercial activities previously conducted in the immediate vicinity of the subject property. In many cases, this proposed use is similar to other commercial retail that would not require a discretionary land use permit. Staff does have a recommendation that we consider and discuss the request for a consistency determination submitted by Element 7 and find that the proposed project is consistent with the Airport Land Use Comprehensive Plan based on the purpose and intent of the Airport Compatibility Zone B2. Staff will note...
Jesse. Louder.
My apologies. Staff will note that we have received 3 letters of correspondence. Staff has reviewed this correspondence to ensure that the content is particular to airport consistency determinations. Upon review, the majority of the comments provided relate to parking. Parking will be an issue that is addressed by the City of Ukiah during the discretionary land use permit hearing for this item. Again, with regards to the airport compatibility, staff was able to find consistency, and we are able to provide findings for the review of the Commission that consider this development to be consistent with an infill determination. With that, I will close my presentation, and I'm happy to address any questions of the Commission. My apologies for any clarity issues that were undertaken here.
Thank you, staff. Would like to thank staff who prepared this. This is probably the best agenda summary or report by staff that I've seen. Most clearly speaks to the task at hand. So thank you.
Thank you.
Opening it up for discussion. Are there any questions? Greg?
Am I assuming correctly that this goes before the city planning commission and the city council also, or? Well, what?
I spoke with
Mhm.
I spoke with Craig Schlatter at the City of Ukiah. Usually these projects come to the city and then are referred out. In this particular case, the applicant made a major use permit with the city and also in parallel directly to county staff. So we ended up seeing this without the benefit of it going through city. Is that more or less accurate?
Yes, that helps me.
That is correct. And if I may, through the chair, Mr. Crane.
Yes.
So in this instance, the applicant has filed for a major use permit along with this consistency determination from the Airport Land Use Committee. They applied for this preemptively based on their understanding of the airport zone for which they were located, which is a B2 zone. They submitted this application in conjunction but separately from their required land use permit that will be reviewed and discussed by the City of Ukiah. This is simply to facilitate the consistency determination for the airport zone in which they are located.
In cases like this, would we be, as a courtesy, sending those 3 letters along to city staff with our determination?
Yes, sir.
Making that-
In this instance, I have actually been in rather constant communication with the planning manager, Maria Turner, of the City of Ukiah. I have conveyed the letters that were provided to the Airport Land Use Commission, and again identified to her that many of the concerns that were provided were speaking to parking or issues that would be pertinent to the City of Ukiah and their planning commission. We have been in regular contact with the City of Ukiah regarding this permit, and separately staff has provided recommended conditions of approval that are particular to the cannabis operation. Again, in this instance, however, we are reviewing it for the consistency determination necessary for the airport compatibility zone B2.
Understood. Question about, this is hypothetical, has no bearing on this particular decision, but under the proposed, the amended comprehensive land use plan, the draft that's under discussion, would this or would this not, in this area, would this be more or less restrictive?
That's a good question, Chair Crane. I am not particularly familiar with the proposed airport land use plan, and I've not had an opportunity to evaluate it based on that question.
I'd be curious at another time to review that, just so I understand how we're evolving the document. But the rule book as it is the rule book. So we should probably stay focused on that. My apologies.
No worries.
Chair, Eric?
Yes.
I had a question. Can you see us, Eric?
Yes.
Okay, so.
We have a very small internet connection, so when I'm uploading video, it gets a little bit choppy. So I muted out or videoed out.
Okay. Some of the emails that were sent as far as neighboring or concerned citizens neighboring parcels adjacent to this parcel we're going to talk about that, but there was this one issue that was consistent in them is the parking. And can staff address that?
You just did.
If I may, through the chair.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please proceed.
So in this instance, parking is a consideration that has been transferred to the City of Ukiah for their review. Parking considerations are not germane to the conversation with regard to airport consistency. That being said, staff has acknowledged that this is a consistent concern of adjacent residents, and we have conveyed previously these letters to the City of Ukiah for their review upon the hearing for their planning commission to review this particular land use permit.
I see in the, did that address your concern, Diana?
Yeah, and I'm sorry if I missed it in the report.
No worries.
I see 7 parking spaces listed on the proposed site plan.
Right.
Am I missing an ADA parking space?
There is one ADA parking space. It's tucked into a jaunt of the building to provide an accessible path of travel to the side door. If you look adjacent to the office, it is essentially tucked into the corner of the building.
Okay, I see it now.
And that being said, there is also additional street parking that, while not a component of this application, would be available for use. And the applicant has otherwise indicated that the accessibility upgrades will be facilitated to conform to current standards.
Okay.
Oh, here it is, yes.
And if you would like, the applicant themselves is available for questions if you would like.
Didn't have any questions for the applicant at this time. Anybody, any other commissioners with questions? Hearing none. One of the things that has been happened in the past, or that's been done in the past, is an analysis of the number of parking spaces and the application of the 1.5 people per parking space.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that should be looked at as well?
I can respond to that question. In certain instances, to determine an appropriate occupancy load factor, parking can be used as a way to determine the population density for that particular business. In this case, the applicant has provided that the mercantile retail classification for this structure gives us a regulated building density of 60 persons. So in this instance, we are able to utilize that specific occupancy factor rather than rely on an interpretation through parking standards or the number of available spaces of parking to determine what the occupancy factor for the building is.
All right, so since you had more clear indication from the applicant, that superseded the rule of thumb.
Correct. There are multiple ways to otherwise understand what the occupancy factor will be for a building when looking through the appendices of our current airport land use plan. This is Appendix D, and it contains 3 methods to otherwise determine how to calculate this population density. And in this instance, given that there was a clear classification for mercantile and is included in the building standards and plans provided, staff felt comfortable utilizing that as the method to determine what the population density would be.
Any other questions from the commission? Diana?
Well, so you're saying 60 occupants at a time. That would be about 40 square feet per person in there? I'm just, you got the building at 2,700 feet, more or less, 28. So what I'm wondering is, if we allow the 60 occupancy and we're providing how many parking places?
8, including the ADA.
So I would draw our attention to the bottom of page 2, the last paragraph, in which we discuss the occupancy load factor, and staff otherwise followed the determination from the airport land use plan as to calculating not only the maximum building occupancy, but the expected persons at any one time, and then from there delineated that this property would be consistent with the expectations for a building of this size in this B2 zone.
With the infill determination.
That is correct.
So the question before us really is, do we determine that this is infill? And if so, then use those findings to proceed, and if not, then find it inconsistent?
That is correct, Chair Crane. And on the bottom of page 4, we have a staff recommendation as well as an alternative recommendation for your review and consideration.
Deputy County Counsel Matthew Gadrowski, just a quick comment that it appears we've lost Commissioner Wiedemann at this point in time. For the minute's sake, can we just note that we still have quorum, and we'll see if she returns.
Let's give her a minute and see if she pops back on.
So for purposes of the public, should we take like a 5-minute break?
Yeah.
So with that being noted, we are taking a 5-minute break and can return at 3:35 p.m.
Is that 2:35?
I'm sorry, excuse me, 2:35 p.m. My apologies.
No, we're going to take an hour and 5 minutes. Madeline.
Just thought I'd bring it up.
We're winded. It's late in the day. Been a long week already.
We did have a planning commission this morning. Are we back on? Are we live?
We're ready.
Well,
Chair
not
Crane?
seeing Diana returning, I think we should proceed.
Most definitely. And Chair, while I don't believe that there are any questions for the applicant, I'd like to allow the applicant the opportunity to speak on behalf of their project. They are available at your discretion.
Oh, absolutely.
Christopher Bloom, are you available to speak to your project?
Yes, how's everybody on the commission doing today?
Doing well, thank you.
I am happy to answer any questions you may have. I guess, a couple points I'd like to make is that Commissioner Holtkamp, I believe it was you that brought up the total load or maximum occupancy of 60. That's just based on the size of the building. We'll never hit anywhere near that. The majority of the space is going to be used for storage, offices, secured lockup, that sort of thing. So the actual size of the retail floor is quite a bit smaller, as you can see in the plans. And so occupancy essentially is going to be based on that. We anticipate to have 3 or 4 employees on staff at any time. And then obviously, in these times, highly restrictive on the number of customers we're going to be allowed in the store at any given time, as well as, trying to create a pleasant shopping experience. So, even after all this is over, having customers wait in the lobby area before they're allowed to enter the retail space. So all in all, we would anticipate no more than 12 total people being on site at any given time. Additionally, in regards to the required parking spaces, this building was built before 1972, I believe is the code. So it is actually exempt from a lot of the parking requirements just based on total footprint. And again, as the report states, there is additional street parking there, which of course is open to anyone and everyone. At this time, I'd just be happy to answer any questions or concerns that anybody on commission may have.
Thank you, Christopher.
With only 12 people anticipated, that's somewhat different than staff's numbers that were presented.
Yes.
Based on the math.
Can you unmute me?
What do you have in front of you? I'm sorry, I don't have the complete report printed out here in front of me.
Page 2, math breaks down to 46 max occupancy, and then 50% of that, so 23 expected at one time, which is 126 persons per acre, which is well over the normal allowed, which is why staff is working on the infill determination.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also the 90 persons per acre limit, which is what you'd have to be under for not needing the infill determination. And that kind of leads me to a question of would placarding the building at a 16, which would be the 90 persons per acre, be another option? And this is a question for legal counsel and staff more for my edification. Is that something that an applicant could limit themselves to?
If I may, I can respond to that to start.
Say again?
If I may, I can respond for that.
Yes, please.
So the 90 persons density limitation is specific to the B2 zone. All B2 non-residential properties in the Ukiah Airport zone require a maximum of 90 persons a limitation of 90 persons per acre at a maximum. So for this structure, to ensure that density limitation, it should never be above 16 people. And per the information provided by the applicant, as well as our understanding of the ability to control the entry to that structure, this would be considered consistent with our infill determination, as the property will not typically exceed that 16 persons in the actual commercial structure. So it would appear that it's not necessary to additionally condition this activity, given that the standard operations of the business are expected to be less than that 90 persons per acre.
Understood that the 90 persons per acre would be 16 people,
Mm-hmm. That is correct.
but we're looking at infill determination to allow them to go beyond that. Am I misreading that?
No, we would not be allowing them to go beyond that. If it did go beyond that, then we would be in a position where the findings to make that infill determination would be much more difficult. In this instance, however, given that the limitations of the business, the expected number of employees, we don't expect it to exceed the 12 to 13 as otherwise indicated, and therefore is found to be within the range of occupancies that are acceptable within the B2. So it helps us to make this determination that this business type is appropriate for the infill determination.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant?
Not here.
Entertain a motion.
I'll make the recommended motion and findings in the staff report.
We hear a second.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Roll call vote?
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Holtkamp,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiedemann,
Not present.
Commissioner Crane,
Aye.
Commissioner Switchenbank. He's on mute.
You're muted.
Muted. Oh, let it show for the record that Commissioner Swiftenbank has visually affirmed his vote.
Okay. And that's a 4-0 vote. It's unanimous.
So with that, we do have a 4-0 vote. It's unanimous decision in support of the item. Progressing on, matters from staff. Presently, staff has nothing to present to the ALUC at this point in time. Matters from the commission?
Anybody on the commission have anything?
I don't.
Nope.
We've got the meeting coming up in late November, 2 weeks from today, I do believe.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Hopefully everybody's got their calendars cleared.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's the date?
19th, sorry. Right?
The 19th.
The same day as planning commission.
It'll be November 19th.
Thank you, Julia Acker-Kroc.
Is that at 2 o'clock again?
Yes.
Yes, Commissioner Nelson, at 2 o'clock again.
Thank you.
Don't have anything else from the commission? Don't have any minutes to approve. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Well,
Thank you
Commissioners,
to
thank you.
staff, thank you for the applicant, and best of luck in your endeavor.
Thank you, Commissioners. I hope you have a
Thank you, everybody, for your time.
Bye-bye.
See you guys in a couple weeks.
Okay.
That sounds good, thank you.
Sounds good. Have a good one.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim.
Sure, no problem.
I hate public speaking.